Greetings and grace. All right. So we are talking about, of course, stopping the self sabotage. That's what we're talking about today. And we're going to continue on communicating in the communication. All right. So we're talking about Samaria, and we are in Second Kings chapter 17. And we're going to learn about this together. We're going to rock it on out. All right. So it opens up with Hoshea, last king of Israel, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah. Hoshea, son of Elah, became king of Israel in Samaria, and he reigned 9 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, but did not like the kings of Israel who preceded him. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, but not like the kings of Israel who preceded him. Sh- Shalmaneser, my Lord, these names. I wonder if people think about that concerning my name, but okay. Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came up to attack Hoshea, who had been Shalmaneser's vassal and had paid him tribute. But the king of Assyria discovered that Hoshea was a traitor, for he had sent envoys to So, king of Egypt, and he no longer paid tribute to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore Shalmaneser seized him and put him in prison. The king of Assyria invaded the entire land, marched against Samaria, and laid siege to it for 3 years. In the ninth year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria captured Samaria and deported the Israelites to Assyria. He settled them in Halah, in Gozan on the harbor river, and in the towns of the Medes. Israel exiled because of sin. Verse 7. All this took place because the Israelites had sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up out of Egypt from under the power of Pharaoh king of Egypt. They worshipped other gods and followed the practices of the nations of the Lord. And followed the practices of the nations the Lord had driven out before them, as well as the practices that the kings of Israel had introduced. The Israelites secretly did things against the Lord their God that were not right. From watching From watchtower to fortified city, they built themselves high places in all their towns. They set up sacred stones and Asherah poles on every high hill and under every spreading tree. At every high place they burned incense, as the nations whom the Lord had driven out before them had done. They did wicked things that aroused the Lord's anger. They worshipped idols though the Lord had said, "You shall not do this." The Lord warned Israel and Judah through all his prophets and seers. Turn from your evil ways. Observe my commands and decrees in accordance with the entire law that I commanded your ancestors to obey, and that I delivered to you through my servants the prophets. But they would not listen, and were as stiff-necked as their ancestors, who did not trust in the Lord their God. They rejected his decrees and the covenant he had made with their ancestors, and the statutes he had warned them to keep. They followed worthless idols and themselves became worthless. They imitated the nations around them, although the Lord had ordered them, "Do not do as they do." Wow. They forsook all the commands of the Lord their God and made for themselves two idols cast in the shape of calves and an Asherah pole. They bowed down to all the starry hosts, and they worshipped Baal or Baal. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire. They practiced divination and sought omens and sold themselves to do evil in the eyes of the Lord, arousing his anger. So the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them from his presence. Only the tribe of Judah was left, and even Judah did not keep the commands of the Lord their God. They followed the practices Israel had introduced. Therefore, the Lord rejected all of the people of Israel. He afflicted them and gave them into the hands of the plunderers until he thrust them from his presence. When he tore Israel away from the house of David, that made Jeroboam, son of Nebat, their king. Jeroboam enticed Israel away from following the Lord and caused them to commit a great sin. The Israelites persisted in all the sins of Jeroboam, and did not turn away from them until the Lord removed them from his presence, as he had warned through all his servants the prophets. So the people of Israel were taken from their homeland into exile in Assyria, and they are still there. Yo, this is wild. But it sounds familiar, man. You know what I'm saying? North America. Samaria resettled. The king of Assyria brought people from Babylon, Kutha, Abba, Amath, and Sepharvaim, Sepharvaim, and settled them in the towns of Samaria to replace the Israelites. They took over Samaria and lived in its towns. When they first lived there, they did not worship the Lord. So he sent lions among them, and they killed some of the people. It was reported to the king of Assyria, the people you deported and resettled in the towns of Samaria do not know what the God of that country requires. He has sent lions among them, which are killing them off, because the people do not know what he requires. Then the king of Assyria gave this order: have one of the priests you took captive have one of the priests you took captive from Samaria go back to live there and teach the people what the God of the land requires. So one of the priests who had been exiled from Samaria came to live in Bethel and taught them how to worship the Lord. Nevertheless, each national group made its own gods in the several towns where they settled and set them up in the shrines the people of Samaria had made at the high places. The people from Babylon made Sukkot, 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 Succotash. No, no, no. Excuse me, making a joke. The people from Babylon made Succoth Benoth. Those from Kuthath made Nergal. And those from Amath made Ashima. The Avites made Nebash and Tartak. And the Sepharvites burned their children in the fire. Oh my God, as sacrifices to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Seraphaim, no, Sepharvaim. Wow, you guys, I am doing horrible at butchering these names. My apologies on that. Eh. They worshiped the Lord, but they also appointed all sorts of their own people to officiate for them as priests in the shrines at the high places. They worshiped the Lord, but they also served their own gods in accordance with the customs of the nations from which they had been bought. To this day, they persist in their former practices. They neither worship the Lord nor adhere to the decrees and regulations, the laws and commands that the Lord gave the descendants of Jacob, whom he named Israel. When the Lord made a covenant with the Israelites, he commanded them, do not worship any other gods or bow down to them, serve them, or sacrifice to them. For the Lord who brought you up out of Egypt with mighty power and outstretched arm is the one you must worship. To him you shall bow down, and to him offer sacrifices. You must always be careful to keep the decrees and regulations, the laws and the commands he wrote for you. Do not worship other gods. Do not forget the covenant I have made with you, and do not worship other gods. Rather, worship the Lord your God. It is he who will deliver you from the hand of all your enemies. They would not listen, however, but persisted in their former practices. Even while these people were worshiping the Lord, they were still serving their idols. To this day, their children and grandchildren continue to do as their ancestors did. Whew. All right, so y'all, that was a mouthful, but let's summarize. Think about it. I mean, let's go there for a moment. Let's really think about it. Because I remember myself having a spiritual conversation, like debate back and forth concerning Christmas. Emmanuel Jesus Christ was not born in December. Um, why is there a tree? Why is there this dude named Santa? You know what I'm saying? And I know Santa, right? Saint Nick, he was like, or somebody said he's not a saint. I mean, I don't really know all the history, but I remember, Saint Nick was, Santa Claus, and he went to um give gifts to the orphans, right? That's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. So dude had a nonprofit. All right, cool. um, I like Christmas movies. I enjoy a couple Christmas songs. I like The Grinch. Yeah, that's my jam right there. You're a mean one, Mr. Green. That's a really good song. But I remember having a conversation. Uh, yeah, and I was just like, yeah, but why are you, like openly saying, what I'm saying, like in a church, celebrating Christmas, celebrating Easter, bunnies do not lay eggs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. I get the holidays. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is those who are Christians, right? You should practice the actual Christianity um days that you're supposed to honor, right? Those days, right? And fun fact, the original calendar is literally 30 days per month. That way, the festivals and the things that we're supposed to be following, right? Those of us who love God, right? Whether Christianity, whether Jewish, or, whatever it is, you love God, right? The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. There are certain days and there are certain times it's supposed to be same time each and every single year, same day, each and every single year, same month, each and every single year. And those are the things that we are actually supposed to be honoring, those days, right? Those festivals. And so, I remember having a conversation, and that was an important one because even to this day, I still don't really, care about practicing Christmas. I won't turn away family, and I show up in, my dashiki that was made in Taiwan. I mean, I got to get a real dashiki. I look forward to actually going to Africa getting a real dashiki. But like all of these things, right? The reality of the situation is that these things, they, what are they, right? Why is it that we celebrate them? They really breaks it down. They really break it down because, I mean, it is true. It is true. There's pictures of Jesus, but we all know that's not Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have Jesus up in their churches, have Jesus up in their homes. Excuse me, have this photo or this statue of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And then, there's a whole lot of, worshiping and praying to other gods and stuff like that. And, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel as though we in North America are experiencing what Samaria has done and created? Because I mean, like some of these joints, the fact that they were sacrificing children, that's wrong. You don't do that. You don't do that. That's wrong. Kind of reminds me of the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? What really goes on with that stuff. There's a whole lot of it's just bad, man. It's bad. And if you do enough research, you'll find some stuff out. You know what I'm saying? You'll find out who's speaking out against it and then some because there's a whole lot of stuff that happens in the entertainment industry. And you gotta protect yourself, you gotta protect your kids. And we see like a whole bunch of people losing their mind right now. We see that in real time. And it's as a result of all of the things that these so-called adults, you know what I'm saying, have done in reference to other gods, right? And it's harming other people, and that's not cool. So, hey, I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you celebrate the other holidays? Me personally, I want to celebrate, you know what I'm saying, the original festivals and the original things that God had created for us to celebrate and honor, right? And I also want to add in some African traditions, when I find out whomever my tribe is, I, maybe probably in the next couple of years, I'll probably find that out. Probably won't go to Africa until maybe next year, hopefully. Rocking those things on now, doing a cruise this year, so I'm super excited about that, getting the passport finally. So it's like, okay, let's get on out there and experience more. But I just want to encourage you guys to really ask yourself the meaning, right? And then kind of create your own. Because one thing I like Kwanzaa. I like Kwanzaa because it's not about running to the store and getting gifts, or especially right after Thanksgiving, which is another man-made holiday. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you go, you wait in line 3 a.m. to just get whatever you can, and it's a madhouse. People are crazy when they start doing that stuff. You know what I'm saying? When I was younger, I did a couple of those. Like I didn't know any better, and then I'm like, why? I like Cyber Monday though. Can Cyber Monday be a holiday without worshiping it? But there's a whole lot of stuff to really think about because we got to think about what actually matters, and we also got to have those conversations about what it is it about what it is actually about. Why in the world are people celebrating Christmas and saying it's Jesus' birthday? It's not Jesus' birthday. It's inaccurate, you know what I'm saying? Or saying that Easter is Resurrection Sunday. It's not the same. Like, and bunnies don't lay eggs. I don't get it. It's like everybody just kind of mushed everything together and was like, here, So I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all educate me if you know some more stuff about it. Because what I feel about it's like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because as far as I'm concerned, I love on God every day. You know what I'm saying? And bunnies don't lay eggs. And then the whole Christmas situation. But yeah, happy Kwanzaa. I like that. But I don't know, man. You guys gotta y'all gotta talk to me about that. What are your thoughts on that? I know it's gotta be hard, especially if you have like, your kids in school and then they're like, this is what I got for Christmas, this is what I got for Christmas. Like you gotta raise your kids to be super strong and not give in to, what I'm saying, the pressure of, buying your kid the latest stuff and, always buying them toys and everything like that. But what are your thoughts? What are you guys' thoughts on that? All right, let me know. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. God bless. But yeah, I think the hold on before we leave, I want to say this, right? The fact that said that okay, the verse 22, the Israelites persisted in all the sins of Jeroboam and did not turn away from them until the Lord removed them from his presence, as he had warned through all of his servants. So like God removed them from his presence as a result of them doing what it is they were doing, going hardcore. You know, the commandments are clear, have no other gods before God. So yeah. Try not to sabotage your faith. Please try not to sabotage your spirituality. I know it's late. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. All right.